Hey geeks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Trey Guillotine, and today I'm marveling at the question of whether Deadpool is going to become a Disney princess. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it around so others can join in the conversation. Ever since the Disney and Fox deal was finalized, there's been a lot of questions on how or if Marvel and Disney are going to bring X-Men and Fantastic Four into the MCU. One thing that's actually troubling me is what's going to happen with Deadpool. Deadpool was such a huge success and was definitely Ryan Reynolds' baby. He put a lot of effort into getting Deadpool made on the big screen. He even took a pay cut to get Deadpool made like it should be made. Very vulgar, very adult. So my big fear is that if Marvel tries to bring Deadpool into the MCU, they'll treat Deadpool like they treated the Spider-Man deal and completely reboot the series. So new production team, new story, new timeline, new Deadpool, which means that we would potentially be losing Ryan Reynolds in this deal. This fear is of course based off the Spider-Man deal that they made with Sony, where they share custody of Spider-Man, where basically Marvel is going to make a Spider-Man movies and they're going to make their Spider-Man and Sony's going to get the money. This kind of deal actually made a lot of sense for Spider-Man, even though I thought another reboot of Spider-Man was kind of overkill, but fortunately it worked out. But it made sense to do that because the Spider-Man series under Sony's care was kind of floundering. We had the very first two Spider-Man movies, which were part of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, starring Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, which were fantastic. I even still consider Spider-Man 2 to be one of the bars set for how superhero movies should be today. But then we got Spider-Man 3, which was kind of bad, which wasn't Sam Raimi's fault. It was actually Sony's and the producer's fault because they really wanted all of the villains in Spider-Man 3. They wanted Hobgoblin or the new Green Goblin, and they wanted Sandman, and they wanted Venom. They wanted all these villains, and Sam Raimi was like, that's not really going to work that well. I don't really want to do that. And I was like, well, tough, if that's what you're going to do. So he did it, and it of course failed tremendously. And then it just kind of ended the Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Well, then they came out with the Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, which weren't that bad. They were enjoyable movies for the most part. I really liked Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker in Spider-Man simply because he had that kind of New Yorker attitude. He was this really just kind of sarcastic punk kid, which as great as Tobey Maguire was basically just Tobey Maguire in a Spider-Man suit, which was fine for those movies, but as we're growing the Spider-Man, it made sense to actually kind of start to really embody kind of the characteristics of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but those movies didn't do that well. So it made sense that when Marvel took over Spider-Man, that they did their own thing. They did a reboot and they did their own Spider-Man that was a huge success. Handling Spider-Man the way they did made sense for that, and I think it would actually make sense for X-Men and Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, the three movies that have come out have been pretty bad. And then X-Men, which is a movie series that has been going on for almost 20 years, it's been either hit or miss. It was either really, really good or just really, really bad. With the last movie, X-Men Apocalypse, just kind of being mediocre at best. Marvel making their own Fantastic Four and their own X-Men makes a lot of sense, but Deadpool is a different story. Deadpool was a huge success, and everyone is excited for Deadpool 2, except for the irresponsible parents who took their kids to go see Deadpool without actually looking at the rating or giving their child a Deadpool costume without actually seeing who Deadpool is. So in this case, I really think that completely rebooting Deadpool, new production team, new direction, new story, new Deadpool would be a huge mistake for Marvel and Disney to do, but on the other hand, I still think they would make a good Deadpool movie even if it is their own, with their own production and own cast, but I really, really don't want to lose Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and I don't think we have to. There is definitely a compromise between the two, between rebooting Deadpool and keeping the production team, keeping Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool is such an insane character, and even in the movie, he very much breaks the fourth wall. He knows he's a superhero character. He knows he's from a comic. He knows Deadpool, that he's in a Deadpool movie. He knows that Fox is behind it. He knows that the X-Men that there's X-Men movies, that Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine. He is very aware of breaking the fourth wall between the film and the audience. He doesn't break the fourth wall. He shatters it and then some. So it is entirely possible to reboot Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and still have Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, even at the beginning of an MCU Deadpool movie, have Ryan Reynolds saying that it's like, well, the Disney Fox deal went through, so now I'm a Disney princess. And then going forward with a new Deadpool movie with the same cast, with the same production team, with Ryan Reynolds. There's even a really, really great idea where there's just a montage of the biggest battles in the MCU with the Avengers and each of the superheroes, with Deadpool kind of watching on the sidelines just eating popcorn. And I thought, that's an amazing idea. If they just have the first Deadpool movie and it's just that, I would be completely satisfied with that. Rebooting Spider-Man and rebooting X-Men and Fantastic Four makes a lot of sense on a production side because all of those titles were more or less kind of floundering before Marvel bought them. So hopefully they'll be able to do the same that they did with Spider-Man, with X-Men, and Fantastic Four. But I really, really think that they need to let Deadpool remain Deadpool. And even if they reboot it, still leave it in the hands of the Deadpool writers, of Ryan Reynolds, of the Deadpool directors and producers and that cast, and not completely rock that boat. I do think it is likely that Deadpool will be a character they want to bring into the MCU since he is such a popular character. And with Disney's business decisions in the past of buying Marvel in the MCU, of continuing the Star Wars saga, and the maturity and the adult levels of those films, it's pretty clear that Disney wants to break away from being the kids show channel or the kids movies and want to show that they really can do more stuff, which is something they've been kind of building towards for a long time, even with Pirates of the Caribbean. As much as those movies are a lot of fun, there are a lot of really mature elements in there that little kids probably aren't going to get. So they've been trying to make this move for a while now. And I think finally bringing the Netflix Defenders series under their new streaming service, of bringing in Deadpool as a Marvel superhero, it's kind of their big move for them to really embrace their desire to be more adult and more mature titles coming out of Disney. Hopefully in doing that, they at least keep Ryan Reynolds on as Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool was his baby. He not became Deadpool, he is Deadpool. Even outside of the costume, outside of the movie, outside of the character, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, and Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds, and there's very little distinction of where Deadpool ends and Ryan Reynolds begins. So I think it would be a huge mistake of recasting Deadpool, of rebooting Deadpool without Ryan Reynolds. What do you think of the idea of Deadpool becoming a Disney princess? Let me know in the comments and follow me on all the internets. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it around so others can join the conversation. You can check out my written reviews of Marvel TV shows, movies, and games at tradeguillotine.blogspot.com, and subscribe to my channel to geek out some more. Thanks for watching and have fun.